Welcome to Sports Jedi Network. Today in this video, I'm recapping this past weekend's card from Shanghai, China, which featured a main event between Johnny Walker and China's own Zhang Mingyang, or Mingyang, as Johnny Walker somehow won this his fight. Like I put a title potential upset of the year because the odds don't say it because I know Ming Ying was a favorite, but I don't know if he was like the biggest favorite to lose in the year. Like I don't know, but when you consider the circumstances and how everybody picked Zhang Ming Yang to knock out Johnny Walker, including me, this has got to be arguably the upset of the year. Like I'll talk more about it as I get to the fight, but because I was trying to think about like the main of like this past year, like what would be the upset of the year? Because I think I said one. I feel like I said it with one of these fights like for the last like month or so that it was upset of the year, but I think this might be it. It depends what happens the rest of the year. Obviously, we still got September, October, November, December to come, but as this moment, as I'm thinking, like I think this might be the upset of the year, just me personally. But I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe I might think of another fight. Maybe I'll write in the comment section. But at the moment, I think this is the upset of the year, what Johnny Walker did. And I'll explain a little more when I break down the fight. But yeah, overall, this was a good card. This was, it was a very early card for those in America. We finally know what it's like to be European fans. Those that live in the United States, Canada, Mexico, the Americas, basically. We got to know what it's like to be European, like sometimes, I guess, Middle Eastern fans, how they get up super early to watch these fights and stuff. But yeah, it starts 6 a.m., the main card here in the United States, East Coast. And but it was still cool, knowing that by the time noon came, the card was over. You go back and watch the fights when you wanted, especially you were off Saturday. It wasn't, but still. I mean, they had the prelims were good. He had some finishes. Yeah, Urat Bodov Bidev in the opening fights. I'm butchering his freaking name, unfortunately, but he's the first fight of the main card. He got a submission. He got, I believe, I'm trying to remember what was the submission he got on his opponent. He had was it Ezekiel choke? Yeah, it was an Ezekiel choke, which is rare. It's the fifth one in UFC history. It was. I mean, I know. Alex Oseichik, Aliko Oseichik, the heavyweight fighter, has pulled off twice in the UFC, and he was known for that. He did in the regional scene, but it's rare to see in the UFC in MMA entirely. Yeah, he pulled it off here, so that was impressive. Gotta give a shout out to. Make sure don't butcher. I'm gonna butcher his name anyway. Yoran Sotabev. Shout out to him. And then, of course, you had also in the prelims, Cal Dawkins gets the shocking knockout of Michel Pereira. Man, Michel Pereira's falling off, man. Where he was a year ago at this point to where he is now, wow, the fall from him is great. A year ago, he was a surging contender, like a top 15 guy in the middleweight division, who I think was 8-0 in his prior to the Anthony Hernandez fight, where he just gassed out so damn quickly. Like he drew, like it was so, like it wasn't like Hernandez like drain his energy. No, he just gassed out quickly in the first round. Then got his ass whooped from the rest of that fight against Hernandez. And now Anthony Hernandez is elite. He's one of the best middleweights. But the way he looked, which is so bad, it made it easy for Hernandez to bully him, just destroy him. Hernandez is elite. Then he lost to was that Boost? I think it was a Boost. Magomedov. Magomov. I'm forgetting how to say his last name. The guy Strickland beat, and before he fought Israel Adesanya, Abu's his first name. Why am I forgetting his name? He lost to him. Then he got knocked out by Kyle Dawkins. Kyle Dawkins, a guy who's a submission guy, not known for knockouts. And even though like, you can argue it was a little bit early, I can understand that, but I get why. I think it was Jason Herzog, I believe, was the ref of the fight. Why he stopped it, because he got dropped, and then like Dawkins landed some elbows, and then one elbow where his head kind of like bounced back, and it looked like his eyes might have rolled back. It looked like it based on like the angle, and I think the ref saw and stopped it. And I can't really. It's not the worst stoppage. Like I don't mind the stoppage at all, but man, you talking about falling off? Michel Pereira. This is a guy who thought could be a contender in the freaking middleweight division, and then for the year loses 3 fights. He got finished both of them because Hernandez did finish in round 5, but that was after getting his ass whooped for most of that fight by Hernandez. And then Cal Dawkins took the fight in short notice, who got cut from the UFC, knocks him out, which is a good knockout. He landed a good right on Michelle Pereira dropped him, and then Kyle Dawkins was able to finish him. But still, that was shocking, very shocking. And then you had an upset. Well, some people, really should have been Charles Johnson defeating Lorna Kavanaugh. As Charles Johnson, basically, Charles Johnson's weird. Like he's a guy who's always been. He's very good. Like he's always been around the top 15 range. But yeah, he's never like broken through into like the top 8. Because I think he might have been ranked number 10 or 9 one point in his career. But Charles Johnson's really good. Like he gave Makayev a tougher fight than expected. And Makayev's undefeated. He knocked out Joshua Van, who's about to fight for the flyweight title. And he just beat Kavanaugh, who Kavanaugh was an undefeated guy, and basically beat him up. Basically beat him. You could say fraud check, but I don't know if I want to. Maybe you can say fraud check, but I really can't because look at Johnson's experience versus Kavanaugh experience. You realize Johnson has way more experience than him. Like I think almost like 3 times the amount, or like at least over twice the amount of fights than Kavanaugh has, and also Johnson's ranked number 15. But still, Johnson had a TKO victory after, I think if I remember, he lost round 1, then he came back and was able, Kavanaugh gassed out and started gassing out, and then he took advantage, was able to drop Kavanaugh and finish him, beat him up badly, as he hands Kavanaugh his first defeat. But it was, so that was a little bit of the prelim action. And then we go to the main card. Let me just, let me drink a sip of water real quick. Yeah, I'm just writing some timestamps so that way I can put the timestamps for the videos for the fights I break down, make it easier for you guys. But anyway, let's start with the first fight in the main card. Obviously, Taiyilake Nueraji defeats Kiefer Crosbie. This fight was controversial because of the referee. So what happened was Kiefer Crosbie was down one knee, and Nueraji drew a knee on a ground opponent because Crosbie on his knees, and then Nueraji was staying up, and he drew a knee, and that drop basically Crosbie dropped him, and kind of I don't want to say knocked him out cold, but definitely hurt him. Like he was somewhat out, and Mark Gar, the ref, basically he obviously stopped the fight, not because of his qualification, but to check up on him, Crosbie. And Crosbie said he was good, and he said he was good, and he didn't want that he can continue. But the problem is Mark Garter only gave him 45 seconds, or 30 to 45 seconds, and then after the doctor said he can go, after the doctor checked on him, he just basically, after Crosbie said he's not gonna he's gonna continue, he just continued the fight. When the ref should have done, Mark Goddard he should have given Kavanaugh a minute to recover before continuing the fight, because it was not that long from him getting the knee and the doctor checking in to Goddard restarting the fight. It was very bad job by Mark Goddard, very terrible. And shout out to Crosbie too. Crosbie could have easily said, "Nah, I can't continue." And it would have been fair because it wasn't a legal knee that Nueraji landed. But Crosbie continued fighting, proved he's a tough guy. He proved he is tough. Like he did, the Irish stereotype about how the Irish are these tough fighters who are just tough guys who just love to fight. Crosbie definitely fit that profile in this performance here in terms of how he handled that, because Crosbie's from Ireland. But despite all that, Crosbie was getting his ass whooped the entire fight. I know Nueraji got points taken away, but at the same time, it didn't matter. Nueraji was clearly better than him. I picked Nueraji to win, and it was the reason why he was the favorite. Crosby's not that good. He's tough, but he's just not that good. And Nueraji's better. Nueraji was coming in the UFC, I think, having 10 finishes prior, in his career. Well, 10 of his victories, all 10 of his victories were by finish, and he had 9 knockouts, 1 submission. He went out there and just beat the crap out of Crosbie. Crosbie, if I remember, went for a takedown, or I think he was going for a takedown. Nueraji risked position after being taken down and just started beating him up. And Crosbie was going for a submission off his back, if I remember correctly, but he just couldn't get it. And then Nueraji was doing some good ground and pound and just beating him up. So I mean, even if that knee didn't happen, Nueraji was going to beat Crosbie and probably finish him, just because Nueraji's a finisher and Crosbie had no answer. So the knee happened. It really wouldn't matter. If you watch everything prior to the knee, Nueraji was fucking him up anyway. Nueraji was the better fight. This was like a showcase fight for him. This is his UFC debut in China, and Nueraji, and made the crowd happy by going out there and winning the fight and dominating his home country of China. So yeah, I mean the ref should have done a better job. Mark Goddard handling that situation. Should have given Crosbie at least a minute extra to recover before restarting the fight. Should say, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you a minute, and if you feel good after a minute, then we'll restart the fight. Just give you a minute, and then detect the point for Nueraji, and then continue on. He should Goddard just immediately. It was like 45 seconds later after the doctor came in. He's like, Crosbie said, I'm good, and just could start the fight immediately, which is crazy because that knee, it was not like an Aljamain Sterling Pyongyang knee where Aljo was kind of like overreacting to the knee. No, that knee hit him very good and like it dropped him, like kind of like knocked him out for a second. Like it was a very bad knee, but still, but still, Nueraji would have won the fight about the knee. And Mark Goddard should have done a better job with how he handled that situation. Like I said, should have given an extra minute to recover. Terrible job. Even though, me personally, if you know me, knees on a ground and point should be legalized. I hate the fact that North American MMA, it's not legal. The unified rules is not legal. And stupid, it's bullshit. Japanese MMA has it correct. One championship, which is Asian MMA, but I'm pretty sure they got the rules from Japan, like Pride, Dream, now Ryzen, where we're over there in Ryzen, most Japanese promotions, and in one championship, knees on ground and point are legal, and it should be the case here in North America unified rules because it'll lead to more exciting fights, more finishes, and guys who have bad takedowns will not get rewarded. They would be punished for it. So some of these boring grapplers that we don't like, they would get punished right by their sloppy takedowns, and they hold on to somebody, and then they're on their knees. Their opponent can try and throw knees to the head and force them to let go of position or do more. And the fact it's not legal here is so stupid and retarded. I fucking hate it. It's stupid and dumb, and I can't stand it. So I have to mention that every time I get a chance to. I will mention that until they change the fucking rules. We need knees allowed on ground opponents. We should. But Nueraji goes there afterwards and finished him like a minute afterwards. Like, he's able to drop him and just ground pound him so he can't continue. Crosbie, that is. And good job by Nueraji. Wins his UFC debut from his home country, and it was a good performance by him. He would have won anyway without the knee. But still, guards should have handled it differently. Now go on from that fight to Mudaerji taking on Kevin Borjas. I picked Kevin Borjas to win, and I got that one completely wrong. Mudaerji was just better than him on the feet. Like he was like laying spinning kicks, laying some punches that stunned Borjas. Borjas could land on him. Like did Sergei get knocked down this fight? No, he didn't. But no, he didn't. But he landed 60% of his strikes compared to Borjas' 45%. Yeah, like Borjas, like a lot of times was missing, and Durgi was just laying perfectly, just catching Ken Borjas and just hurting him. It was a boring fight at times. Like there were some exciting moments when like Durgi will like go for a spinning attack to land or do something creative, but other than that, it was kind of boring for the most part. To be fair, but still, Durgi was just better. Like on the feet, Kevin Barras had no answer. He couldn't really do much on the feet, so he tried to grapple with him and try to take him down, but just couldn't get a takedown. So he tried, try to take him down from the clinch and try like win in the clinch department, but couldn't do anything. Really didn't do any dirty boxing. Couldn't take him down there. Durgi did a good job defending takedowns and stuff, and that was Brawl's the only thing he could do because, like I said, on the feet he had no answers, and Summer Dirty just picked them apart. And it's like I also Brawls makes sense to go for the grappling because Durgi's been submitted a lot in his career, so if he can get him to the ground, he can probably submit Durgi. But Smooth Durgi's takedown defense was very good in this fight, so it never got to the point where Durgi had defense submissions. So Smooth Durgi did a good job here defending takedowns, outlanding Ken Brojas, just picking apart, landing the bigger shots that stunned Brojas. Brojas couldn't do nothing on the feet. He was getting beat up for most of this fight. And yeah, it was a good performance by Mudaerji. And Ken Brojas, sometimes they might come because he's won during the UFC, maybe, but you look at the two, like losing Joshua Van, especially in a competitive fight where he dropped Van. It's kind of like it's like I don't know if they're gonna cut him for that. And he lost to Costa, Alexandro Costa. Now if Costa goes out there and keeps winning, it's definitely gonna look better on his part. And if Costa loses, then maybe he's gonna ban Cam Brojas, maybe they'll let him go. But I don't know what they do next for him. Like Cam Brojas is solid. I think he's decent, but I don't know what they're gonna do next for him. So we'll see what's next for Kevin Brojas. Mudaerji, he's a very big flyweight, like very big. Like I think he's like 5'9". He's a guy that I think should be a bantamweight personally. Like I don't like the guys who are big for their weight class, especially in the lighter weights who are tall, like Jim Turner was at 155 or Joe Alvarez now. Those fighters, I just don't like them. I wish they would just go up in weight and just fight in a natural way, and fighting guys on their size. I just that's just something I've never liked when fighters do that. But Derji is able to win. Hopefully, sooner Derji one day goes to 135. Who knows? It might be better there. That's just me. But let me transition from that fight to Sergei Pavlovich and Waldo Cortes-Acosta. As Sergei Pavlovich wins this fight via unanimous decision. This fight, Sergei Pavlovich, it was a better performance than the Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight from earlier this year in Saudi Arabia, but he didn't look like the old Sergei, the Sergei that was on that 6-fight first round knockout streak before the Tom Aspinall fight, where Aspinall flatline killed him badly. He didn't look, people are like wanting to see the old Sergei Pavlovich, and I get it. But the thing is, if you look at Sergei Pavlovich, like the guys he was knocking out, those guys were not great strikers, like great technical strikers. They really weren't. Like, yeah, Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa hit hard, but they're not known for like the great techniques and striking. Then look at his last 4 opponents Pavlovich has fought. Tom Aspinall, very good striker, elite striker. Volkov, elite striker. And especially Aspinall has the power too. Rosenstrike, a kickboxer. I think he was a kickboxing champion. He was a good kickboxer, Rosenstrike. And then Waldo Cortes-Acosta was a boxer, a professional boxer before doing MMA. Like, these are guys who have good striking. And the thing with Sergei Pavlovich, I've noticed that Sergei Pavlovich can't just go out there and just throw heat, just be reckless and just throw combinations, leave himself open with these great strikers. And this is where you know Sergei Pavlovich's game has changed, finding these guys who can strike. That's why he's not getting knockouts he used to. And also and also I gotta give I forgot I had another point I was gonna make in ties to Pavlovich and like the whole the opponents he's fought recently. Yeah, Pavlovich knows he has to be like more measured because he's gonna get countered, especially like after the Tom fight, where Sergei probably going into that fight thought, "Man, I'm unstoppable, man. I'm Sergei Pavlovich. I don't care. I could take one. I could take one and give one back. I'm just gonna marauder my way into this knockout against Aspinall." Then Aspinall dropped him, finished him, and just knocked him out like he always does to everybody. And well, most everybody, because Aspinall does have submission victories, but still, you get what I mean. And then, of course, he had to change his style. And then Volkov fight, he just couldn't do anything. Volkov just picked him apart. And then, of course, he changed his style, been more patient, more measured, and was able to recognize he has to do that to win these fights against these better strikers who can strike. And also with Pavlovich, when you look back at his knockout streak, he really he got knockouts, but it was usually it wasn't like one punch touch of death stuff like Tom Aspinall or Francis Ngannou. Because I remember we used to call him White Ngannou, Sergei Pavlovich. Like I used to call him that at times. But when you actually watch his fights, he usually had to land like 3 or 4 punches before he'd finish somebody or drop them, hurt him badly. It was never like he dropped somebody one punch or had one punch knockout power. Like there were times where he would drop somebody one punch. To be fair, like I think he dropped Blades with a punch. But usually he never knocked someone out with one punch. Like he would drop them, but then he had to finish them in combinations or knock him out after throwing a bunch of punches. That's usually how Pavlovich won guys knockouts and won his fights during that 6-fight first round knockout streak. It was after throwing a barrage of punches that he knocked them out. It was never one punch hit or quitter like Ngannou, for example. So I think it is a little bit of that. Pavlovich is good. Don't get me wrong. Pavlovich is elite heavyweight. He's a top 5 heavyweight in the world. There's Aspinall gone, there's Volkov, Almeida, and then him. He proved it how, even though he was more patient, more measured, wasn't the old Pavlovich we expected, he still went out there and beat Acosta's ass. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he had good moments in this fight. that like he had where he landed on Pavlovich, but Pavlovich kept landing uppercuts on Waldo Cortes-Acosta, and Costa just landed like he landed some jabs, but he landed some decent strikes, but that reach advantage came to play because Pavlovich had a 6-inch reach advantage and just kept catching Acosta Cortez or Cortez Acosta and he Cortez Acosta with some big shots that stunned him that I think it's some other guys probably would have been dropped, to be honest with you, because I mentioned Pavlovich can drop guys with one punch, but still like there's some punches I was like watching, like damn, other guys they probably would have been dropped from that punch, but Costa showed he has a good chin. He can take a punch. I gotta give him credit because some of the punches did stun him for a second. It looked like Pavlovich can go, and Pavlovich was trying at one of the punches that really stunned Costa was trying to go for the kill, but it looked like one moment, but Costa survived. I think he clinched him before Pavlovich broke it up, or like he kind of yeah. There was a moment where he did clinch him, and there was a moment where he kind of move out of the way, like oh shit, get out of here before he catches me. But yeah, like I had a feeling Pavlovich is going to win just because Pavlovich has fought better competition. And plus, Sergei Spivak did land some big shots on Acosta and really had some good moments in striking. It's like, if you're letting Sergei Spivak have good moments in the striking, what's now he fight Sergei Pavlovich, who's a way better striker than Spivak, and has a reach advantage that Spivak doesn't have. Oh, so I think Spivak might have a reach advantage against Acosta, but not to the level Pavlovich has. Pavlovich has the longest reach in the UFC, I think, currently. One of the longest reaches in the UFC, and especially 2 months. Especially for Costa, he's fighting Pavlovich 2 months after Spivak, and it's like, what's gonna happen when you're fighting, Pavlovich in 2 months? Like, how are you gonna improve that much in 2 months from the Spivak fight to Pavlovich? Like, Pavlovich proved that he's an elite fighter. Like, and also I give these guys credit. These guys didn't exactly gas out. Like, these guys drew punches and they kept throwing punches. They didn't gas out like typical heavyweights. Like, these guys were in shape and like I said, the third round they both were drawing, and like I said, Costa had his moments. We hit Pavlovich, but Pavlovich ate him well. Pavlovich has a good chance by getting finished in two of his fights. One was a TKO, like a barrage from Overeem and Aspinall, who Aspinall knocks. He knocks out most of his opponents. He always wins by finish. Excuse me, Aspinall. So Pavlovich overall does have a good chin. He's been hit with some big shots too from other guys and survived. So Pavlovich does have a good chin for the most part and costed him some decent shots, but did nothing to him. And particularly the headbutt. Like round one, there was a headbutt that Pavlovich got caught with. Like the heads clashed, but like it was like Pavlovich's like jaw clashed with like Costa's like forehead like this. Like his forehead like went up like this. Acosta's that hit Pavlovich's jaw, and Pavlovich ate it well. So I gotta it shows that Pavlovich is very good chin, and like I said, and he hit Costa Cortez some big shots. Or Cortes-Acosta, excuse me, with some big shots. I don't know why I always get his name confused. I always said the opposite with Waldo. I don't know why I keep doing that. But yeah, good performance by Sergei. Like it was moments of entertaining for the most part, way better than that Rosenstrike fight. Wasn't like I said, it wasn't like super duper entertaining, but I wouldn't call it like super boring either. Like especially watch the Rosenstrike fight. This was actually a much better performance by Sergei. Like I said, rocked Acosta multiple times, like stunned him, and like Acosta had like cut his nose in round three. Looked like Pavlovich could have kept like throwing punches and straights to Acosta's nose. Probably could have broke it, but they get the chance as the fight ended. And one of that annoyed me with Acosta is that Acosta like in round three after he was like the second half of round three, he should have like gone for it more, considering he lost I think 30-27. Now you can argue he could have won round one to be fair, but still like it was a close round. Like it was corner. You should have told him, hey, you might be down 2-0. You might need to finish. And especially in that second half of round three, like Pavlovich stunned him a few times, and then like Acosta, there was no sense of urgency from him compared to Pavlovich. Pavlovich had more of a sense of urgency in his fight than Acosta, and then Acosta basically went out there and in like last 10 seconds the Max Holloway point down and then like basically only threw like two punches the entire time while Pavlovich kind of obliged, not too much, but he sort of did, and he only those two punches. Like, motherfucker, why are you doing the Max Holloway shit if you're just gonna throw two punches and run and not engage like that? And by the way, why weren't you doing this the previous 2.5 minutes when you were losing the round, losing the fight? There was no sense of urgency compared to freaking compared to Pavlovich. Not that Pavlovich had a super duper sense of urgency, but still, there was more of it from him than Acosta. And, I don't know, and Acosta didn't do it. And that just looks so stupid on Acosta's part. But yeah, good job, Pavlovich, man. I think you give him the winner of maybe, not the winner, excuse me, the loser of Almeida Volkov, maybe. Because Pavlovich in a weird situation because Gon and Aspinall fighting the same card as Volkov and Almeida. You know what you could do? You could do like Gon when Gon loses to Aspinall because I do think Gon's gonna lose to Aspinall. You could do because we haven't seen that fight. Aspinall, I mean not Pavlovich and Gon. So maybe you do that fight in Europe. Maybe that can work. I think you get him the loser of Almeida and Volkov or Gon for Pavlovich because Pavlovich on a 2-fight win streak. He's a top 5 heavyweight. So you gotta get. I think if Pavlovich wins his next fight, you can easily give him another title shot at the title easily because I mean you could somewhat argue maybe a Blades rematch, but do we even want to see a rematch with Pavlovich and Blades? I don't. Because I think personally, like Pavlovich, not only that, I think Pavlovich definitely beats Blades again. And same with Derek Lewis. I love Black Beast, but put him and Derek Lewis, who's kind of a 2-fight win streak, I think he's gonna knock out Derek Lewis again. I don't see Lewis beating him, just honestly. So I think the loser of one of those of Almeida Volkov or Gon will make sense for Pavlovich personally. That's just my opinion. But let me I already talked enough about that fight. Let me transition from that fight to freaking Brian Ortega and Aljamain Sterling. So I was really going a lot longer than I thought it would. But anyway, Aljamain Sterling gets the unanimous decision victory, 50-45 over Brian Ortega. In this fight, a lot more striking than I expected. Like I knew it was gonna be some decent amount of striking because they're both grapplers, but at the same time, it's way more than I expected. Way a lot more. Like I don't think there was a takedown till round 5. There might have been an attempt around 4, but I don't recall. And like wow, Aljamain Sterling, his striking has improved compared to early in his career, to be fair, but at the same time, Brian Ortega just got beat up in the striking department by Aljamain Sterling, who, compared to these other featherweights he's fought, does not have elite striking at all. Because Ortega's fought Max Holloway, he's fought Yair. Well, Yair's a great kicker. His boxing maybe he's not the best, but still better striker than Aljamain can say. He's fought Volkanovski, Ortega. He's fought I think did he fight Josh Emmett? Actually, I don't think he did. He fought Korean Zombie. It's like, damn. You fought all these great strikers and yet Aljamain Sterling just dog walk you like that. Like, Ryan Ortega, the first 3 rounds just looked terrible. Like maybe it was the weight cut. Maybe the weight cut affected him because you see him in the scales. Because this fight was a catch weight. It was supposed to be a 145, but it got a catch weight because Ortega couldn't make weight. And Ortega in the scales looked horrible. He looked bad. Ortega looked like he didn't want to be there. And it just like Ortega's performance the first 3 rounds, he looked terrible. Couldn't do anything. Aljamain was just picking apart and striking. Aljamain striking, yeah, it's not the best, I'll admit it, but like I said, it's improved compared to like early in his career where he was arguably the worst striker in the UFC at the time. And Aljamain just picking apart and striking, just kept hitting him, kept punching him, landing shots. Ortega couldn't do jack at all in this fight. And and like and like Aljamain just pick apart with punches, straights, and rights and lefts, and just Aljamain and like Ortega didn't want like Ortega a few times landed Aljamain, and he might have the power advantage. Well, he did have the power advantage, but at the same time, he didn't throw enough to really like affect Aljamain like at all. Like Aljamain just kept walking him down, just getting out the way in time. Aljamain just picking him apart. It looked like a strike. It looked like a sparring session at times in this fight. It really did. This at times was a boring fight. It was. Now, thankfully, I'm allowed to say that because if you say, "Oh, fight flowing grappling is boring," like Hamza and Drickus, "Oh, you get called casual and oh, go watch boxing," all that retarded shit. Just so retarded. Excuse my language. It's like really, but it's like it's just crazy. I'm allowed to say striking fights are boring, but I can't say the opposite, which is so stupid. Like it's crazy that that's accepted by a good portion of MMA fans, which is ridiculous. I mean, at least it's a striking fight. I could say that's boring. This fight was boring at times. Look at the sparring session. It's like some fans, fans like that, fans who enjoy, fans like who enjoy the Hamzat fight, intricacies and performances like that. It's like I said, like you got go watch wrestling. I'm not talking about WWE or AEW or TNA. I'm talking about collegiate wrestling, obviously. And yes, I know about the Rampage Sun incident. I might do a whole video about that, but that's another thing. Let me focus on the fights. Back to this. Yeah, this fight was boring. It was very boring until like second half round four got a little interesting. Aljamain still won the fight. Ortega looked like he was trying this fight. Then round five, Ortega went out there and just actually put effort. Actually was going after Aljamain, pressing forward and actually drawing punches and actually I think he even caught Aljamain and actually was going forward and actually there was excitement in round five, but Aljamain got the takedown, got his back and from there that's Aljamain's domain. That's his game. Like I said, Aljamain took down Movsar Evloev. If he take down Movsar Evloev, he can definitely take down Brian Ortega. And it happened here. And got his back. And Aljamain's the human backpack, I like to call him, that everyone calls him too. Once you got your back, you're in big trouble. And Aljamain's able to win decision, a dominant decision, and just beat Brian Ortega with ease. And man, Brian Ortega, man, this guy's career is falling off. This is a guy who was a talented guy. Who had beaten some good guys up the rankings. Fought Max Holloway. Got demolished by Holloway in rounds 3 and 4, but ending round 2 too. But still, fought for the belt. Then took a time off, and then the COVID happened, which kind of fucked it up. Beat Korean Zombie. Then had a fight against Volkanovski where he had Volk in trouble twice with submissions, and I think he dropped Volk too. And then from there, it's just like I don't know what happened to Ortega. It's like it's like his career just down. It's just a downfall. Like it's like this. It's just gone down. And like I don't know what happened to this dude. Like like seriously, what the fuck happened? Like this guy went from being a top top featherweight to being just a guy who barely fights and he doesn't look the same. He just like it's just sometimes it looks like he doesn't want to be there. It just looks like his skills have regressed, and it sucks because Brian Ortega is a fun fighter in his early in his career. Like several years ago, he was kind of a fun fighter to watch, and he was an interesting guy. And he was a guy who had some personal problems, but got over it, and he found God and like married the mother of his kids now, and it's like personal life he's doing great things, which I'm happy for him. I'm glad, but it's like, damn, it seems like the fighting. I don't know, the heart's there at times. He barely fights, and when he doesn't look the same. I mean, I give him credit for being Yair, despite the broken foot he had after he did a jump prior to the fight beginning. I got him credit there, but still, it's like he just doesn't look the same. It's like I'm surprised there's even 145. Like, why not go to 155? Like, he said you want to go 155 to the Diego Lopez fight, and he didn't go up to 155. He took a 145 fight, couldn't make weight, and had to do a catch weight. Looked terrible, looked awful on the scales, and it showed the performance. It's just like, ugh. Like, hopefully Brian Ortega can get together for his career's sake. He's only like 33, I think. He's not that old. Matter of fact, what is his age? Hang on, I'm looking it up right now. How old is Brian Ortega? Brian Ortega is. This phone wants to load. Oh, he's 34. Okay, he's 34, mid 30s. Like if it's now, and it might be like for his career, if he wants to be an elite fighter, he's gonna have to go up in weight. 155, just a new division. Maybe fashion these guys can breathe a little bit different, and plus into the weight cut, he might perform better. Like there's a lot of featherweights who go at 155 and do well. He may have to do that. I think he should for his sake, and hopefully he can do well. I think he could, but he just got to do it because man, Ortega is not the guy he used to be. He's just not. And Aljamain Sterling, good performance. I don't know why he's calling Volkanovski next. Like, bro, I get you're the former bantamweight champ, but come on, dude. You won a fight. The guy you fought before Ortega, Movsar Evloev, beat you, is more deserving of a title fight than you. That guy Evloev's on a 9-fight win streak. Lone Murphy's more deserving of a title fight than Aljamain, considering he's actually on a win streak. I think a 7-fight win streak in the UFC, also undefeated like Evloev. And he's been more active than Aljamain Sterling. Like, come on. You have two guys who are more deserving the title fight than Aljamain Sterling. I don't know why my voice cracked there, but Aljamain Sterling, I don't know why you call out Volkanovski. That's just stupid. Like Aljamain Sterling should fight Yair if Yair doesn't want. If Yair actually wants to fight, not be a bitch and sends rankings and try to get a title fight that he also hasn't earned. Aljamain versus Yair would be a great fight. Aljamain versus Murphy for number one contendership fight, that should be also be in the cards. Or Aljamain versus the winner of John Silva and Diego Lopez. That's who Aljamain should fight next. If Aljamain beats those guys, then we can talk about him getting a title fight. But at this moment, nah, Aljamain don't deserve one. I don't know why he called out Volkanovski. That's just crazy and ridiculous. Anyway, we transition from that fight to the main event. Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang. Johnny Walker wins, second round TKO. Man, this is an upset, man. Johnny Walker is a guy who's chinny as fuck. The guy's got no chin. He gets knocked out easily. Going to Zhang Mingyang, who had 12 straight first round knockouts. 12 straight. This is why everybody, including myself, picked Zhang Mingyang to knock out Johnny Walker because of that. And plus, it wasn't like Johnny Walker like showing improvements in his game, his defense, or anything new. He really didn't. I mean, he hadn't shown any progress in this fight. Now, one thing about Johnny Walker I give him credit for is that the leg kicks won this fight for him, even though he had a bad first round. Zhang Mingyang won round one. Walker immediately went for a takedown, failed and didn't pull guard, which allowed Zhang Mingyang to be on top of him. And Zhang Mingyang paused, and Zhang Mingyang basically went out there and freaking threw some ground and pound, threw some elbows, threw some punches that landed. And Johnny Walker, I gotta give credit to him. He took them well. He did. He did, but still, Jamie Yan threw some nice ground and pound, but he was able to get up with Johnny Walker. But then even then, Jamie Yan threw some nice elbows. And Jamie Yan, if you know anything about his game, he has some of the best elbows in MMA. He's knocked guys out with his elbows. So he threw some elbows in Walker. Walker took him well. He also landed some good punches in Johnny Walker. Clean round one. He actually looked good. Walker did land some leg kicks in this fight. And that became a big deal in this fight. That's what won Walker the fight was leg kicks, because I didn't notice this till watching the fight that Zhang Mingyang has some big calves. Like his calves are big, and the problem with having big calves, it seems like, is that if you have big calves, it's kind of it makes it easier for you for leg kicks to shut you down compared to guys who don't have big calves. Like I heard people saying this that like that's part of the reason why Zhang Mingyang got basically his legs shut down, couldn't get up in round two because Zhang Mingyang had big calves, and with the big calves, it's easy to get hit by them. Especially since Zhang Mingyang wasn't cutting angles in this fight, wasn't using movement to cut off Johnny Walker, and which made it easier for him to get hit with leg kicks. And some say, oh, Zhang Mingyang got hit with 2 leg kicks and his leg was compromised. No, it wasn't 2. It was like 9 or 10 leg kicks, like 8 really powerful ones before his leg got compromised. Walker had at least landed like 10 leg kicks before his leg got compromised. And like that's a good point because I never thought about that until everyone was mentioning after the fight. And like maybe that's true. Maybe it might be true. I never thought about it. It does make sense. Having big calves could be a problem, especially if you're not a guy using angles to prevent guys from hitting the leg kicks, or if you don't check them like that, because Zhang Mingyang did not check a lot of leg kicks in this fight. That's something he's probably going to have to work on, is checking leg kicks, especially with his big calves, and using ankles to cut the corner off of the cage, so that way guys don't have it. That way it's harder for guys to throw leg kicks. He's going to have to do that, especially the checking part. And yeah, maybe having big calves is definitely a problem. It's like I never thought about it, but they might be right. Like I gotta see. I'm trying to think who else has big calves in the UFC. Like anybody know? Let me know in the comment section, because I do want to see their fights and see leg kicks have compromised them and fucked them up. I do need to see that. But Walker basically landed like 10 leg kicks. It compromised Zhang Mingyang in round 2. Zhang was doing very well, landed some shots in Walker. Walker took him well, give him credit there. And Walker himself did land some good punches in Zhang. Zhang ate it well, but leg kicks is what dropped Zhang. And then Zhang went out there. Walker went out there and basically went for the kill and just landed some good ground and pound. Landed some good shots on Zhang Mingyang. Mingyang was trying to cover up and escape, but couldn't. You roll around, like switch positions, and that's why the ref didn't stop the fight. But Walker kept throwing punches. And even though you could argue Walker should have got up and try to make Zhang step up, get up, especially that compromised leg, because if he couldn't, the ref could have stopped the fight there because he's compromised. But It didn't happen. But Walker did enough to stop the fight, and with a ground and pound, and Mark Goddard basically tried to give Zhang all the opportunity in the world to fight to get out of his position, but couldn't stop the fight. Ground and pound, and it was a good thing for Walker because Walker was throwing a lot of energy. Like he was throwing a lot of all on those ground and pound shots. And that if Zhang would somehow survived and got out of round two, he might have been in trouble because he threw a lot of punches and looked like he was starting to get a little bit exhausted, and probably would have been exhausted with all those punches he landed in that ground and pound exchange. But it was a good performance by Johnny Walker. Excellent performance. Good bounce back victory. Well, just let me phrase it. Not excellent, but a good performance, a nice bounce back performance. I can't say excellent. Let me take that back. Walker bounces back and gets a victory and stops the win streak of Zhang Mingyang. Had a 12-fight win streak going into this fight in China, and the Chinese fans were left unhappy seeing the guy in the main event lose in China. And yeah, Walker wins and stays in the rankings because he probably would have been out the rankings had he lost to Zhang Mingyang. And he called Jan Blachowicz next. And you know what? I know Jan Blachowicz is older, but I still think Jan Blachowicz would knock out Johnny Walker and fuck him up because Jan has some of the best leg kicks in the UFC currently, and he's great checking leg kicks too. Like he shut down Israel Adesanya's leg kicking game. Israel Adesanya is one of the best leg kickers in the UFC, and he shut that down. And it's like, damn, if you shut down Israel Adesanya, Johnny Walker, I don't see him success with leg kicks. And Walker still has a bad shin. Like I'm still not picking Johnny Walker against most of these guys in light heavyweight. I'm just not. He's still got a suspect chin. He can get knocked out anytime. Jan Blachowicz has that legendary Polish power, and I'm saying they make that fight, and freaking Walker can easily has a glass chin. His defense still not the best, and it's bad. And it's bad to have bad defense. We have a weak ass chin, and just like I think Jan will still knock him out. I think a lot of these light heavyweights will knock him out if they catch his chin. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like I just don't see Walker. I don't think Walker's gonna go on another run like he did. I think somebody's gonna catch him. Like Azamat Amerikov might catch him. Bogdan Guskov could knock him out. Jan would knock him out. Like this Reyes definitely. Like there's so many guys that I just go, man. Walker fights these guys. He's probably gonna get knocked out. I just can't pick Johnny Walker despite what he did. Still can't pick him. I'm not going to. But good performance overall by Johnny Walker for the most part. A good performance. Nice bounce back victory. Like I said, Zhang Mingyang, if you just work on checking leg kicks and maybe using angles to cut off the cage and stuff to make it harder for guys to just throw leg kicks randomly, maybe it won't be a problem for him. Or maybe he can try to reduce his calves. Like I said, having giant calves, try to make it where it's not too small because who was it? Somebody was it MMA Guru? They might be MMA Guru mentioned how you don't want your calves being too small because then if they're too small, you go like to snap real easily with a leg kick. Like you get hit with a leg kick and leg snaps. You don't want that either. So you want a happy medium. Maybe that's what he needs to do, but definitely needs to check leg kicks because we can check those leg kicks and maybe work on those two things I mentioned. You know, especially like I think changing the physiology of your body is a lot harder, especially if you're trying to be active. It might be a little bit hard, especially calves. Like I don't know, like can you like change your calves to make them? I guess you can, but I don't know how long it's gonna take. You know, like I'm not like maybe it could. I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. But anyway, yeah, definitely work on checking leg kicks because Jamie Ann's still talented, still good enough. He's still young too. I think he's in his late 20s. So if he just like I said, work on that, checking leg kicks, he could still be a contender in his weight class personally. But yeah, this was not. It was sucks for him to lose in China like that, especially after a great first round too. But Johnny Walker, congratulations, good performance, upset of the year so far, in my opinion. Might be upset of the year, but yeah, got that wrong. Like everyone in the MMA community did, we all got this one wrong. Still not trusting Johnny Walker and these other fights in light heavyweight, especially against these other guys. I think Walker should definitely move up to heavyweight, but the problem is his brother fights at heavyweights, and his brother's so close to being ranked too. So it's like, that sucks. Johnny Walker is big. Like I think Walker, kind of the weight he does, might hurt him. He might be drained. It might get easier to get knocked out. I think maybe at heavyweight he won't be as easy to get knocked out because he's not draining himself. But his brother fights at heavyweight. His brother's so close to getting ranked too. So it's like, Yeah, that could be a problem there because I don't think he wants to fight his brother. So you have that whole issue. But it is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening. Let me know what you guys think of the card overall and what was your favorite performance. And yeah, Crosbie Walker ups of the year. Aljamain just destroyed Ortega in striking. Can't believe that. But it is what it is. Pavlovich looked better in his fight, and maybe he looks the way he does because he's fighting better strikers. So Mudaerji just went out there and shut down Borjas, and then of course Nueraji, good performance. Even if the knee didn't happen, he still will have knocked out Crosbie. Let's be real. And yeah, Mark Gar should have done a better job with the way he handled that. Oh yeah, Mark Gar is also the ref of the main event. Forgot to mention. Mark Gar definitely allowed Mingyang to go out there and freaking and like try to get himself out of bad positions more than some other fights, considering how he's been at times been very very more willing to stop fights a little bit earlier than we all wanted to in previous fights. But at the same time, Zhang Mingyang did move around a lot of positions, and was trying to get out of bad positions. So kind of made it harder for Guard to do it. But yeah, Mark Guard. I wish Mark Guard didn't like stop fights a little bit early at times. I wish he just let it go a little bit longer. Heavy championship fights too, but yeah, I just want to mention that because I know people were talking about that with Mark Goddard, so I do want to mention that real quick. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening. Have a good day, good night. I'll see you next time. Peace. God bless. Stay safe. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.